Hi everyone, I'm Reena Augustine from Indoz Television. Today's episode is a little different because we're diving into the reality behind reality TV. Most people know him as Ben from Brisbane, the funky, quirky, unforgettable personality from Big Brother Australia. But what we don't often see is what happens after the camera stops rolling. The pressure, the identity shift, the highs and the lows. I'm so lucky to have Ben over here in the studio. Hi, Ben.
Hey.
Ben from Brisbane.
It's me. Nice to be here.
I'm glad you're here and thanks for coming along.
Thanks for having me.
Ben, so you were a part of the show called Big Brother.
I was.
And that was 2013.
It was. I know.
Is it like 10, 13 years ago?
I know. It's wild. I hope I'm aging all right.
Yeah.
I know. It's interesting because, when you do a show and then so many years later, you're sort of frozen in time to a lot of people. You live on YouTube, on TikTok in particular, with a lot of clips. And I can tell when I'm out and about and I get to chat with people that they're kind of looking at me kindly and then they're kind of comparing me to how they remember me visually,
yes,
and I think I hope that's lining up all right.
Wow. And you were in the house for 73 days.
It's a long time. Like, I went into, you got put in a hotel before you got put into the house for a couple of weeks.
Okay.
They don't do that anymore, I don't think, but you went into the hotel while they ran all these advertisements on the television about what that season was going to be. And we were hidden in a hotel so that we couldn't have any connection with the outside world to know what to expect in our season.
Wow.
It's interesting. They used to call it lockdown, but lockdown has a different connotation these days.
Yeah.
So I was in a hotel in June for maybe 2 weeks, and then I went into the house in July, and I was in the house for all of July, all of August, all of September, including my birthday, and for the first half of October. Long time. We had to vote. We had our federal election. And there was a royal baby that was born. And
yes.
all of, that's a long time. Think about that. All those months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you were allowed to use the phone?
No phone, nothing.
Nothing?
You were genuinely removed from the outside world.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Even the camera operators who would maybe have to assist with like a mic change were like in balaclavas.
Really?
Yeah, we called them ninjas, nicely.
Yeah.
They were covered, right?
Yeah.
Ninjas, right? So you couldn't even get to know or have a feeling for who was sort of looking after you, technically wise. You couldn't bond. You were purposely removed. All you had was yourself and your other housemates. It's wild.
It is.
Yeah.
Can you please tell our viewers what exactly happens in Big Brother and why is that show out?
Why is that show?
Why was that show on? Like, why is that show on? Like, what is Big Brother?
Well, Big Brother ultimately is a social experiment. Mm-hmm. It's sort of bringing people together that in everyday life would not usually come into contact with one another. And then you must sort of live, I was going to say live and work. You don't really work, but cohabitate together for an extended amount of time. And of course, you have to then do challenges to earn like food, so you have to kind of work together. It's sort of like Lord of the Flies or Survivor, but in a house. And then, of course, you have to vote people out.
Wow.
You have to vote people out, which I found very tough.
Of course, because you're mingling with, making them friends.
Right.
And then you have to say bye-bye to them.
You have to say goodbye.
You have to choose from people.
It's hard. And it's very strategy-based. I'm not a strategy person. But people would vote people out who they didn't like, or they would vote people out who they thought were really lovely and might win.
Yeah. Ooh.
Right? Yeah. So
that's interesting.
It is interesting. I was terrible at the voting bit. I didn't like that. I found it very distressing. I didn't like that at all.
So how many in total were in the house? In-house participants,
Yeah. Do you know, I think our season, people can fact check this online, I think our season had the most amount of housemates in the house for any season up to that point.
Okay.
Because every season had like a twist. It had like something a little different. And our house, I remember, it was like two houses. There was like the house, and then there was like the poor house. There was like a lesser house, which hadn't happened before. I don't know how, you know, when I reflect on this, I'm not sure how this would play 13 years later, you know, when you, but it was like a poor house and the Big Brother house. And we had like, I thought it was like between like 25 and 30 housemates. There was a lot. Yeah.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. And I'd never lived with anyone before.
Oh my God.
I know.
It's like being in a relationship, like you like somebody and you just live together. Or even if you don't like somebody, you don't know them.
Yeah.
It's like the arranged marriages we have in India.
I love
that.
They tend to work out, I hear. Yeah? Yeah.
Well. I've got something to tell about that.
Okay.
So, people think that arranged marriages work out.
This is what we hear. This is what I hear.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because they match the stars.
Yes.
The parents decide whom to marry.
Yes.
They find an educated woman, educated man, or the woman is not educated, but they can, you know, be home, cook, clean, everything.
Yes.
But the society stigma is so strong that even if you don't get along, you stay together.
That's tough.
So, the relationships goes for a long way, and people think, oh, we don't have divorce cases. But now, as we speak,
yes,
the globalization has increased and people are understanding, okay, if something's wrong, I can walk out.
Yes.
You know?
I do understand
Which
this.
in Western world, I love it. If you're not compatible, you can get out of that relationship.
There's options. Because you want to be happy. You want to be happy.
Yeah.
I know in this country, and this is a long time ago, there wasn't always a single women's pension. I can't profess to be able to talk all about it.
Yeah.
But, you know, for a long time, you know, women and men, I'm talking about women and men, were married, and the woman may not have been happy, but financially there wasn't a way out. Whereas now, from what I understand, you know, there's means.
Yeah.
At least I hope that there is.
There is.
Yeah. You want to be happy.
Yes.
You want to be happy if we can. Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to know that, was that the fame that you got, was it like an overnight fame? And did it change you?
Yeah, it was overnight.
Yeah.
It was over. You know, it's interesting. It was overnight, but you don't know it until you leave the house, right? Yes. So I often reflect on the Big Brother experience, that the real experience and the real adventure wasn't being in the house, but it's everything that's come afterwards. So you're in the hotel in June, you're in the house from July until October, and over that period of time, audiences, not just limited to Australia, but predominantly Australia, are falling in love with you or thinking well of you, you know, and you have no idea. You have no idea. And to be honest, I'm my own person, and I didn't really care. Take me or leave me. I'd like you to take me.
Yeah.
But if you leave me, that's okay. I like me. Mum likes me. That's all right. But I'd rather you took me, right? So during this time, people are taking me. They're liking me, you know. And it wasn't until I left the house and the you know, the response was so positive. It to me then felt overnight.
Yeah.
It felt overnight. It's very overwhelming.
It is.
It's very overwhelming because everything about me, like I'm sort of an eccentric person. I'm a different kind of person. And that hasn't always been easy in my life, right? So sometimes, for example, when I laugh, I snort, you know,
Oh, yeah?
right? And if you ask me to do it, I can't, but sometimes I just do it.
It's automatic, yeah.
It's automatic. So before going on, I use this as an example because before going on Big Brother, I used to do it and people kind of used to, some people found it cute, but a lot of people would kind of, you know, I thought it was a bit, And I even had some people talk to me about it going, you could probably get some surgery to fix that.
Really?
I did. So I mention this because when I go on Big Brother, everyone loves it. Everyone loves it. And I come out of the house and I'm snorting while I laugh. And it might happen during, I think I've done one snort already, but it might happen again. And everyone's saying, oh, I love that snort. And so for me, like, I know that's a sort of a small example, but everything had flipped.
Yeah.
Like everything about me that sort of was not frowned upon, but, you know, was now like
Loved.
They loved it. It was part of my brand.
Yes.
How funny is that?
That makes you different.
I think so. And again, my relationship with my mum, I've always been very close with my mum.
Margaret?
Margaret.
Yes.
Never met a bad Margaret. Great supporter. Really, she's a lovely person. Lovely person. Well, we'd always been very close, and some people make fun of that. You know, maybe in Australia, you know, mummy's boy. Right?
Of course, yes.
And I've never been embarrassed. I am. I love my ma, right?
Yeah.
I love my ma.
Who doesn't?
Right? When I come out of the house, people love that, as they should. But it hadn't always been like that for me.
Yeah.
People had sort of said, you know, you're very close.
Yeah.
And then it was, I love the relationship with you and your mum.
gosh.
Interesting.
See, interesting, because when you give me this example, what automatically I think that what you might have faced is in your relationships when you're dating, everybody must have said, oh, you're too close to your mum, all right, it's not for me. Did you face that?
Look, it's tough. My mother is very much a big part of my life. And if you want to love me or be part of my life, you know, my mum is sort of, you know, she's a big part of my heart. You know, I can't imagine. I mean, I couldn't love anyone that didn't kind of, you know. I mean, love's a funny wow. Love my mum.
Yeah.
Right. You couldn't.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So, Ben, what made you participate in the show?
To go along and be on it. Gosh, it's so silly. I've told the story a few times. It's so silly. It's so silly. It's so silly. So the auditions for Big Brother were being held in the city, and I live sort of in the city, basically. And they were being held sort of down the street from where I lived. So there was sort of no excuse.
Okay.
But the real reason I went, and this, I always feel, I'm a very nostalgic person, and when you finish high school, you have what we call a school formal.
Yep.
And for whatever reason, my school formal was a very joyous time. I have a really lovely memory of it. It was the first time I'd ever really worn a suit. I never really worn a suit. And I remember I had like a top hat. I mention all of this just to say it was a very joyous night.
Yeah, yeah.
The Big Brother auditions were being held at that same venue where my school formal was. And that venue was soon to actually be closed and to become something else. So it was my last opportunity to go back to that venue, to be in the ballroom, which is where they held the auditions, where my formal was. Isn't that silly? It's so silly.
Wow.
So I go along.
Coincidence.
Well, look, I go along and I tell them this because you got to register, you know, and there was a big line outside, big line, and everyone's kind of jogging on the spot and they're psyching themselves. I thought this was very weird because, I mean, we've sort of just met. I don't have to psych myself up to be myself, right? These people, and I was thinking to myself, these people are getting ready to like audition and play a part. I'm not. I'm not. And not because I'm great. I'm not an actor.
Yeah.
So I tell them when I register, I'm really just here because this is where my school formal was. I tell them this. I just want to be honest. Yeah. And I now know in retrospect, they heard that and they made a note about that. And they liked it because it was genuine.
Yes.
But I didn't clock that. I'm not thinking like that.
Yeah.
Like, if you're genuine, you're not hoping to be seen as genuine. You're just genuine.
That's right.
Right?
It's natural.
If you have to tell me how authentic you are and how genuine you are, well, you know, I should be able to figure that out.
Yeah.
You know, it's like if someone says, I've got a funny story. Well, just tell it and I'll let you know, right? So anyway, that's why it's called audition, but I think of it as apply. Mm-hmm. Apply with a small A. Apply.
Righto, and then?
Well, then I kept getting, the audition process has changed over time.
Yeah.
But at that time it was all in person. Okay. And you'd go from like room to room if you made it to the next round, and they would ask you to do certain, like you do like group activities, like drama games. You know, I know. And I'm chatty, but I'm very shy. Like if you ask me to do certain things, I'm too shy. Mm-hmm. And so I wasn't really fully participating in what they were asking, but not in a bad way. I just, I couldn't, bark like a dog or moo like a cow, or I was too scared. And they kept putting me through. I know.
Wow.
I was like Charlie in Willy Wonka where, he returns the gob. I was that.
Yeah.
Like, we'll give it to him. He doesn't, these other people who were very nice, I'm sure.
So,
yeah, I know.
35 people was chosen out of all those auditions?
We'll have to Google the exact number, but
Or 40 or 50, but,
I don't know.
But it's a small amount of people.
Such a small amount. Because, they have auditions all over the country.
Yeah.
All over the country.
Anyone else from Brisbane was that time?
No, there was. It's very strange because it's a show that, it's been filmed in different places, but when you think of Big Brother, you think of the Gold Coast. Gold Coast, Queensland, Brisbane's not far.
Yeah.
So you think of Queensland, but I remember there was one person from the Sunshine Coast who was a housemate, and then there was an intruder who was from the Gold Coast.
Yeah.
But that was there, and then there's
Oh, wow. So did you feel lucky to be chosen?
I felt so lucky. I felt so lucky, and all I could think about was all of because the auditions went for days. They had like 3 days in Brisbane. All I could think of was all of those people that I felt
and you telling that no, I can't do that.
I felt a bit bad.
That's what made you different.
Maybe.
Because you felt bad for those people.
Because I was grateful, but I didn't want it like they wanted it.
Of course. Of course, you were there just because your formals were there.
Yeah, I know. It's so funny.
Wow. Now, you have spoken about mental health.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you have been a part of this. You co-created an organization.
Well, it's interesting. It was a documentary, and it's that in itself is a whole another podcast to talk about that. But the I guess the summarised version is we've got to get in our time machine into 2014. There was Hamish and Andy were very big on Channel 9 at that time.
Hamish and Andy, yeah,
right?
We all know, yeah.
Funny and gorgeous, and parents like them, and younger. We all we still do like them, you know. But it was their heyday, and I actually got to meet them at the Logies, and they're very sweet, very nice. So they were doing a travel show at the time on Channel 9, and I was affiliated with Channel 9. Oh, gosh, it's a long story, but Tim, who I was on Big Brother with, who's fantastic talent, and won the season, fantastic talent, great character, just really good TV. We sort of thought, what if we did a travel show? Because we got nicknamed the odd couple, you see, because we're very, very different. What if we did a travel show? But you got to have like a slant. You got to have an angle in TV. And we thought, well, why don't we travel around? And the angle is mental health and talking about travel and happiness. And can you find happiness when you travel by meeting other people and hearing their stories? And the answer is you can.
Yeah.
Right, because it's actually it's sort of cognitive therapy, really. Because when you travel, you share.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
And you get to see that, you get to hear other people's stories.
Yeah.
And it makes you feel less alone.
Yeah.
So it's a real cult show. I mean cult in the nicest word. I get asked about it as much as I get asked about Big Brother. Mm-hmm. And it ended up being played on an airline in Australia as part of their in-flight entertainment.
I love that.
For years. And then it was on a streaming service for years. And then it was on YouTube, but I think it got taken down off YouTube, I think.
Why is that?
It would just be to do with rights. But I think more people saw that than I realised. I get asked about it all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, very proud of that.
So when you mentioned to me that it's a show for travel and how people actually you can meet, travel has changed my life. I flew down from India to Australia. Never been anywhere else.
Wow.
Imagine
that's a big
here.
trip.
It was a huge trip
and
the best decision. And you know what I understood from that decision? Whatever in life you are doing, you are just one decision away for a positive or a negative. You got to make it. You'll get married, you'll have kids, you'll have lots of things, but it's you. What do you want? And you know what we think? If I make this decision, it's going to impact my mom. It's going to impact my children. You know, we never put ourselves. So that's why I always tell the Indian women, get out, pack your bag, leave the country. That's when you realize and learn. Because mental health is frowned upon back in India.
It's interesting.
When you say, oh, I went to speak to a therapy, they're like, oh, something's wrong with you.
Interesting.
So no one talks about it. Now it's changing with podcasts and social media,
Yes.
but before, everybody was like looking down upon you if you are going to a mental health doctor.
It's like a psychologist or a Yes.
There you go. So your documentary
Yeah.
is absolutely true. You need to go out, meet people, and when you meet people, you learn their culture, you learn so many things, and you realize we are all the same.
We're so much more the same than different.
Isn't it?
I wish people knew that. I mean, I haven't extensively travelled, and I know that to be true. We're all very much the same. You know, we want the same things, I think. You know.
We all do.
Yeah.
We all do.
I wish we could have done more travel because that show did so well. And I'll tell you this, our next country, because we did America, which I know seems sort of, but it was what we could do and it was safe, and I'm a bit of an Elvis fan, and we thought Graceland was a great, you know, backdrop. Our next country was going to be India.
Wow.
Wild, and Tim really wanted to go to India, and I was like, I'll do it, and they're like, we're going to have you, I'm going to have me doing all sorts of things.
You would love it.
I think I would love it.
Every state of India have their own language, own food, own traditional attire.
Yeah.
Everything is different.
Well,
Like my friend over here is from Gujarat, that's the western part of India. I'm from the south. The person you met just entered, she's from the north.
That's
We all are from different, and we speak different languages.
So
I speak Tamil, Hetal speaks Gujarati, and Shelly speaks Hindi. It's crazy, Punjabi. Oh my God, we all speak different language. Our
crazy.
food is different. So you would love India.
I think I would love it. I wish that had happened.
Yeah.
It would have been a great.
It's never too late. It's never too late. You never know.
I say that to Tim because we keep in touch. I say that to Tim.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the funniest thing that's happened to you because of your fame?
Gosh, the funniest thing. That's a really hard one. It's really hard. Well, yeah, I don't know if I have a standalone story. Well, you know this because we had a little chat before this. I'm very literal, and people will chat to me, and I often think that we must know each other. And I find myself in all of these sort of situations where I'm chatting away to someone, and because Brisbane's kind of small, it's kind of small, it's kind of not, it kind of is.
Yeah.
And then after a while, I'll realise in conversation, and you know me, I have a chat. I just have a chat. I realise, I don't know this person at all. I've never met this person. And they know me from Big Brother, or the Graceland Happiness Project, or some other things I've done. You know, I did a bit of daytime TV there for a bit. And then meanwhile, I've told them everything about me. I've told them all my problems, thinking that I must have maybe, I don't know, gone to school with them or something.
Yeah,
I don't know this person
when
at all.
You connect, you know.
Connect.
Yeah.
They're very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know if that's funny, but I do find myself in, like even like 2 days ago, I was at the parcel locker. I'm always at the parcel locker. And, you know, I'm just doing life. And, you know, there are my shorts, you know, no jacket, just there. And someone's at the other parcel locker and they went, I love you. You know, it's very nice.
So nice.
And I say, I love you too. I love you too. So I don't know whether they're funny.
But it's so nice to know that there are people out there who will accept you the way you are. You don't have to pretend. You can be genuine. You can do you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I feel really lucky. You know, I'll say this, Rena, like, you know how we spoke about being authentic and being genuine and everything. We didn't so much talk about that back then. Like, we talk about it a lot now. We might talk about it too much.
Yeah.
I don't know. But as time has passed, I have come into more fashion in a funny way. And I think it's because nothing's real anymore. We feel like everything's fake. People, news, there's no truth. We don't know what to believe in.
Yeah.
And then people see, me, I'm just a speck. But people see me and they're like, this person's real. And that's what I think has become the attraction.
You know what? This brings me to tell you this.
Yeah.
When people find fame, they know that and they try acting weird.
Yeah, I saw it. I still see it. Yeah. Yeah. I did. Well, yeah.
Humans.
Look, I know people that when the camera, is rolling or whatever, that they're one person, and then when it stops, they're different. And when they're then out in the world and people come up to them thinking they're going to get the version that they see in front of the camera, and it's very different, it's very hard. And I kind of empathise with that a little bit, but I don't have that.
I love that. I like that. Yeah, from the moment I met, I'm like, Ben, we know each other for a long time now.
I know.
Ben,
very
did
much.
we go to school together? Was I your prom partner?
I would love that. I would have loved that. I was alone. Yeah.
So after Big Brother, did opportunities come very easily to you?
Yeah, they did. Mm-hmm. They did. And I was so surprised. So immediately after Big Brother, I mean, that was a whirlwind. I then was working on a television program. We have a lot of morning TV in this country. Yeah. Morning TV is a big thing. We don't really do nighttime shows, but we do morning TV. Yeah. We love morning TV. So I was on a show called Mornings, which followed the Today Show, and I was reviewing movies, and they would send me off to do things in and around Brisbane, and I did that for a while, and then I went off to Channel 10, and I was there for sort of, 5 years or so.
So Ben, knowing your journey, now seeing you and knowing you, if there's one thing you would like to advise our viewers, that keep going and don't let people tell you what to do.
Oh, you can't. You can't. I mean, you can't. You just have to keep going.
Because you were called like Mama's boy, but you still kept going.
Oh, I kept going. Yeah.
Where did you get the endurance from?
It's an interesting question. I know my mum's mum, my nana, who I was quite close with, obviously. She always said to me, Benjamin, because that's my name, Benjamin. She said, you have to be a little cheeky to survive this world. And, we're working class people and I'm a bit different. And she just sort of instilled in me that you're just going to have to be a bit cheeky. You're just going to have to smile and, and kind of get on with it a little bit. But I would advise people not to give up. Yeah. And I don't know. I mean, I'm a resilient kind of...
Be resilient.
Yeah. And that's kind of... Look, I mean, I don't know. Do you learn resilience? Is it part of your genetic makeup? My mother's a very resilient person. I think you got to understand, like, we're working class people, we're working poor, we've had it tough, and so we don't take anything for granted.
That's right.
Right? The harder we work, the luckier we get.
Wow.
Right? We treat everyone the same.
That's so true. The harder we work, the luckier we get.
Really, I think
it definitely works. And be cheeky.
You've got to be cheeky. I think be a bit cheeky.
That's the key. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to someone struggling but smiling on the outside?
Oh.
Because you might have met people, seen...
I think you have to act as if. So what I mean is, I'm often smiling.
Yes. Yeah, always.
I'm always smiling.
I love it.
And, struggle's an interesting word, but I can have a lot going on internally. And that doesn't always mean depression or anxiety. It could just mean life, right? It could just mean stress. But I find if I put a smile on my face, and by the way, if you don't want to, you don't want to. But I find if I do that, I can kind of trick my brain into that. And I also attract a lot of energy of other people with smiles, and it's quite contagious.
It is.
Right?
It is.
And before you know it, you kind of, you sort of forgotten about what you're dwelling on, right? So I think I would offer that. But it's hard.
It is hard.
You have to acknowledge that.
But you said resilience definitely helps.
Resilience helps, and my family always used to say, you've got to back yourself, and if you don't believe in yourself, or if you don't sort of stand up for yourself, no one else will.
That's true.
And I'll tell you something else I've learnt post Big Brother, and I mean this kindly. You teach people in this world how to treat you. You teach people. I mean that nicely. You teach people how you want to be treated.
Yes.
So I've had to sort of assert myself more so in this part of my life, because people kind of make maybe more assumptions or request more of my time. So you've got to try and be a bit firmer and stuff like that, which can be uncomfortable.
Especially for a person like you.
I'm a very busy person.
Yes.
It's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But you teach people how to treat you, and which should be with respect and with kindness. But you've got to show that too. You just can't ask for it.
I agree with you.
You've got to show it.
Yes.
But I take my hat off, if I had one on, to anyone that relocates to anywhere, whether it's India to Australia, or I don't know, the UK to
anywhere.
It's hard.
Leaving your home.
It's hard.
Yeah, I was very hard. The best decision of my life.
I'm so happy about it.
In the beautiful country.
Yeah.
I've got all the opportunities.
I love that.
My mom used to say, anything you touch will turn into gold. And I used to really believe that.
I love that.
And I'm like, all right, I'm going to make this decision, because if I do it, I'm going to win.
Yeah.
The positivity always helped.
So much of life is mentality.
That's right.
Everything is perception.
That's right.
Like I've got some things going on at the moment that I'm kind of working through, just some, things in life. But you can look at things as challenges, or you can look at it as an opportunity.
That's
You have to do that.
Yeah, there's no escape. There's no escape.
No, yeah.
I'm going to ask you quick questions.
Yeah.
So what would you prefer, fame or peace?
Oh, gosh. I've had fame in my bubble.
Yes.
There's a lot of people that don't know. I might say peace.
All right, Big Brother or normal life?
I had normal life. So I say Big Brother.
I love it.
Yeah.
One word to describe your journey.
Interesting. I could say exciting.
Biggest lesson?
Yeah. Biggest lesson post Big Brother. Don't take no for an answer.
I love that. And something people still don't know about you.
I'm really shy. I'm very private. I know.
Oh my God.
I'm very private.
And that's what makes you different.
I know.
That's what makes you different.
Yeah,
I love it.
I'm very private. Yeah, there's some things I'll say at events, just in chat. And people say, I didn't know that. And I think, yeah.
Yeah, because going on a reality TV, going on shows, you need to be different. You need to be very brave, outgoing, extrovert.
I guess.
Yeah, but yeah.
Do you know what's funny with that? And I could just... The producers of the program, who are fantastic, I adore them, they had to keep finding reasons to get me into the diary room to talk, because I was too shy to go into the diary room. A lot of housemates, they're so smart. They knew if they went into the diary room to chat that they might get more airtime on television.
Yeah.
That's smart.
Yes.
I wasn't like that. I was
shy guy.
I was shy, so the producers would call me in a nice way to ask me questions, just so they could give me some airtime. I was too shy.
And who named you Ben from Brisbane?
So funny. So when I worked as a flight attendant, I was always getting asked, because I was domestic, so I'd fly all over Australia. So, and even though I was only domestic, this is a big country.
Yeah.
Big country. And so I'd be in the cabin doing a food and beverage service, or I was just in the cabin helping. And people would look out the window and they would see lakes and they would see mountains, and we could have been anywhere. And they would really sweetly say, "Do you know what that is?" And I would just always say, "I'm just Ben from Brisbane."
Oh my God!
I'm just Ben.
Is that how it...
I always used to say that, and apparently in the house I used to say that, but I say it all the time.
Yeah.
And so when I left the house, the social media team there were putting together my handles,
Yeah.
and I just would have used my first and last name, and they said, "Why don't you?" I have to credit it to them. Why don't you use Ben from? There was a few other suggestions, to be fair, but like, why don't you use Ben from Brisbane? You know,
I love it.
I did have some advice from agents saying, don't tie yourself to the city.
One city, yeah.
But I was like, well, I'm from there. It doesn't mean I can't go to London or Sydney.
That's true. That's true.
Anyway, I love Brisbane.
Brisbane is amazing. You know why? All right, I've got a story. So I was in Melbourne for 28 days.
Yeah.
31 days.
Yeah.
The 21 days was sunny, beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody's like, this is not normal because Melbourne gets like seasons. And I'm like, what are you talking about? This is so perfect. And I was like, second guessing, did I make a wrong choice of going and living all my life in Brisbane? The last 3 days, freezing cold, the wind, the rain, and I'm like, all right, I made the right choice going to Brisbane. I love Brisbane. Brisbane is home.
It's lovely.
It's perfect.
I love the weather's beautiful most of the time.
Most of the time. Yeah, no, I like the heat.
Yeah, you like the
I love the heat.
I don't mind the heat. I'm not great with the humidity.
All righty.
I'm a sweaty person. I'm a sweaty person.
Oh my God, Ben, I'm so happy to talk to you. You are amazing. I love it.
I adored talking to you. I adored it. I could talk to you. I could talk to you for the rest of my life.
I'm like, why did I? Because I've been in Brisbane all my life and I've been like doing so many events.
Yeah.
I never saw you. I never met you. Maybe I wasn't at the right events, like the Logies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. I heard the snort. I love it.
I didn't even realize I did it. That's just what happens. I know.
What is next for you?
Gosh, when I go to events, I have a series of questions that I have in my pocket to ask people. Yeah. And one of them is, I say, what's coming up for you? What's on the horizon? Just as, I like to ask people. Yeah. I tend to do that because I don't want to talk about me. I like to ask.
You're good.
Right?
Smart guy.
Again, I'm a bit shy, so
Yes. Put it on them.
Right?
You tell me.
What's next? And I must admit, they're always like, oh, it's a sort of a tough one.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. But I'll tell you what I'm working towards. Maybe I'm very passionate about the Olympics.
Okay.
About the Olympics that's coming up.
Yes.
So watch this space with that. I would like to be involved with that if I could.
2032.
Yeah, I'd like to do a bit with that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
we are Brisbane people. Why not?
Right.
Yeah.
And like with all things, I've got a couple of things that are on the boil.
Nice.
That we'll just have to see. I'm very. I don't like to talk about too many things.
No.
In case they go away.
We always say in our culture that evil eyes. So protect yourself from evil eyes and keep everything to yourself, and then put it out there. Bang.
Yeah, I've learnt that the hard way.
Yeah.
I've learnt that the hard way. So.
Oh my God,
yeah.
Ben! Pleasure having you in the studio. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.